How's it going? Woodspoon Supercoach here. Makapsu has finally entered first place. He got another $8.33 with his Storm 13 Plus and Broncos head to head. So, Makapsu, bro, well done. You're up in first place, ahead by $2. SLM misses his multi, which would have pushed him way ahead with that Laban leg. So, another $8.33 added to the prize pool, and the loss tab goes up by $5. Cool, let's get into the Supercoach week. I had an absolute shitter of a week, just didn't have many players going big, got the captaincy wrong, took it off Drinkwater and put it on Farnworth because I just had a feeling about him. And it wasn't the worst feeling, the Finns did go and put 50 on, just Herbie didn't seem to get himself the attacking stats he needed to go huge. And of course, Drinkwater with a massive score and very highly captained hurts a lot. Pass score this week is about 1300, so I'm well below that, probably going to drop a significant amount of ranks that I've just been clawing back, but the game's the game. Let's get into it. Panthers Bulldogs, very defense-oriented game here. This was very exciting to watch. And to be honest, I think the Bulldogs come out with this with more positivity than Penrith, I think. I know that they haven't beaten Penrith in ages, but it was just a charge down try to get the win, so I think the Doggies can hold their heads up high. Penrith are back. They are not only a top 8 threat, they are a premiership threat. I'd like to go have a look at the odds of them to win the comp because it'd be probably pretty juicy at the moment. And when it comes to grand final day, they'll be $1.80. So Dylan Edwards within 102 is very, very good. I know that there's a few people looking at him for the run home, and with Penrith heating up, I do not mind it. I was chatting with one of you guys in the comments about a certain fullback being a bit of a sell that other people seem to be scared to let go of. We'll get to him a bit later. Nathan Cleary with an 86 is great in a match with only 8 points. He did score that try, so that could have very easily been about a 60, but in a low-scoring game, that's fine. Cleary is also heating up and looking like a very important player to have in your team for the run home. Isaiah Yeo, I feel like there's just better options now. He hasn't had that as high of a floor as he did last year, so I'm not too interested in him. Brian Toto, he has a little bit of a hamstring complaint, and there is a little bit of chat of him being a run home option as well. Personally, I'm not that keen on it. I think with Herbie, Kiraz, Lomax, Val Holmes, I think there's plenty of options. There will be a few games where Toto goes huge, so maybe we'll have to have a closer look at the draw for him. Although in saying that, Penrith are probably pretty draw-proof for the way home. Not too much else to go on here. Casey McLean with a 44. He had the game of his life. He absolutely showed up against Stephen Crichton. And Penrith just keep pulling all these amazing centers out of their fucking ass. It's ridiculous. Connor Tracy with the 91 is very good. He had a very good game. That tackle on the try line to save the try was ridiculous. Jacob Preston with the try for a 90. That's about what we'd expect from him, getting an attacking stat. I feel like he will be lower owned of all the second row forwards. Yeah, 6%. So I quite like him as a pod. And Fanua Blake is just not doing it for me. So if I can work out a trade with Jules there, I might look at that. Kick out with a 66. He's getting a lot more popular. He's 13% of teams. Much higher floor than previous years. And I quite like him as an option as well. But realistically, I'd rather Preston. Kiraz with a 56 is a little bit disappointing, and he's been named as 18th man for the Blues, so we're not going to get him for round 18, which fucking stings. I'm considering flipping him back out and back in again, just because he was a very important number for me in round 18, but maybe we can work something else out. Lockie Galvin with an 18, so he'll be dropping money nicely. If at some point this year Marnie does get dropped and Galvin is starting, he'll be nice and cheap for us and a nice pickup. I think that's all to go over for this game. I do need to speed this up if I'm going to get this video out in time for work. Garrick with the 93. He was on 80 something after the game. If I knew he was going to update to a 93, I 100% would have taken that VC loop. Only about a 20-point difference in the end for me, so not the end of the world. But when I didn't have the captaincy on Drinkwater, those 20 points would have been very important. Taylor May, pretty much everyone has him, so it doesn't really matter what he scores. Tom Trbojevic with a 75. He looked a lot more free this game and not as laboured. So if we do see him return to fullback, what's his price? Under 500k. If he returns to fullback, I think everyone will be flocking to him. So we'll come back to that with the fullback chat in a bit. Lehigh Hopewadi with a 59. I've been saying it. He's at fullback. His ceiling isn't great. And even in a game where they score 28 points, I don't think... Did he get any attacking stats? He got 1 try assist for a 59. It's just not good enough, in my opinion. I had him for the first 9 rounds of the year, so I've seen how he goes at fullback, and it's not bad, but I would much rather a Kiraz, Lomax, anyone with a higher floor. Knights and Raiders. Just quickly back to the Seagulls-Tigers game. Injuries this game. Jareem Buller was still out with a hamstring that he did last week. Jerome Luai has an infected boil, which is delicious. And Nathan Brown has a bicep injury. So nothing too Supercoach relevant there. A couple of big outs for the Tigers, though. So if this infection keeps Luai out next week, then we'll definitely be looking at targeting the Tigers. Knights Raiders. Schiller going huge again. He would have been a nice little pod if you picked him up. 1% of teams, well done if you've got him. But I think if you had his last huge score and now you've taken this one, I think you sell now. You've gotten a win out of your pod. I think it'd be time to move him on. I don't think, he's not going to make money out of that score. Bradman Best, I know a few people would have brought him in. 4% of teams. He's been a nice little pod for you. And with Kalen Ponga's Liz Frank injury, so he'll be out for a while, I can see Bradman Best really taking a step up. And Fletcher Sharp isn't near returning yet. There's a lot of articles going around that he's out for the season and shit. NRL Physio seems to think that's just a bit of media circus. Adam O'Brien said he'd be surprised if he returned this season, and they've all taken that as, confirmed he's out for the year. So with Ponga's Liz Frank injury, if Fletcher Sharp does miraculously recover and get named in the next few weeks, a Knights team powered up by Sharp and without Ponga, I think we definitely want to get him back in. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. Dylan Lucas with a 60 is a bit of a worry, but that's fine. It's about what he's priced at. Dane Gagai with a 58. Looks like selling him was the right option for me. I traded him for Sharp on the week Sharp got that injury, so a little bit of a wasted trade, but at least I didn't get burnt points-wise. And I think that's it for the Knights. I don't think you really want to be targeting any of them outside of a Bradman Best. And if you don't have Dylan Lucas, sure, you can get him in as well. But I think even at this point, there's probably better options than Dylan Lucas as well. But he is just a nice high floor guy to have. For the Raiders, KO Weeks and Zach Hosking going huge. How owned is Hosking these days? 17% of teams, so that's quite big. Corey Horsburgh with a 74 is nice for anyone hanging on to him. Good score from Ethan Strange there as well. Tarpany with a 62. He has a finger injury. I imagine he'll be back next week, and playing with an injured finger, you take a 72, that's fine. 51 from Fogarty. I think it's time for him to go for me. He's been okay cover, but these scores are just boring as shit. Jed Stewart with a 44. If you went him, you better pray he gets tries because he needs them. As soon as those tries dry up, he will score 12s, I'm pretty sure. Broncos Warriors. Gemat Shibasaki with an 116, and he's also been named to play Origin. So Hammer has gone to fullback. The two centers will be Toya and Shibasaki, with Val Holmes and Murray Tuolangi either side of him. Very interesting pick by Billy, but you can't deny that Shibasaki's been amazingly in form this year. You'd be very happy if you're still hanging on to him. Karapani with a 71, the cheapie that everyone's on. He should make a nice bit of cash. Ezra Mam, I actually quite like as a run home option. He's not that expensive. We've seen his ceiling. His low scores kind of look like... his lowest scores are 41. Maybe if I need a round 18 number and the Broncos are playing, I might have a look at Ezra Mam. Reece Walsh has been named as 18th man for the Broncos, so don't go sticking him in your side. Payne Haas with a 45, similar to Terrell May. Everyone has him, so it doesn't really matter what he scores. Jesse Arthur's with a 4. He's scored like under 20 points in the last month. 18, 40, 40, 70, 30, 50. Yeah, gross. For the Warriors, nothing too much to go over here. Aaron Clark with a 62 is just fine. All these scores are pretty much what we expect. Luke Metcalf has done an ACL. He's done for the year. So that is a huge kick in the dick for the Warriors. But does this bring Harris Tavita into contention? He's 485k. He does have some good scores in him. And if he's going to take over the team in Metcalf's absence, the Warriors are still doing very well. They've still got the forwards laying the platform for the halves. So I don't mind that as a play either. It's looking like 5'8 is actually starting to get a bit interesting at this point of the year. Only other thing to mention here is that Nickel Klokstad has also injured his knee. So a double blow there for the Warriors. It'll be interesting to see how they go next week without those two guys. Dragons Eels. Anyone who went early on Val Holmes or Zach Lomax, you'd be very happy with this. I'm just going to read the huge list of injuries for this game. Tui Pilotu has done his hamstring. Toby Couchman and Nathan Lawson both have done shoulders. Damien Cook and Jaden Sewer have both done ankles. Jaden Sewer also has a knee injury on top of that. Luciano Leilua with a quad, and Val Holmes and Viliami Fafita both have corks. So a bit of carnage. We're hitting the time of the year where injuries really start to stack up. So if you haven't saved any trades by this point or haven't saved many, you really want to try and use one trade a week and save a few, because I've got a feeling the run home is just going to be chockers full of injuries. And I think those remaining trades are going to become very, very valuable at the end, especially with your pod plays like Latrell Mitchell in the final round. So just keep that in mind and really start to think about your trades. Iongi with an 86 is good. He's actually been one of the better fullback options for the last few weeks, with a lot of the big guns just not firing, and not really much else going on at the Eels, because why would you pick any of them? Dolphins Rabbitohs, so I stuck the captain on Farmworth, even after talking up Drinkwater and the fact that a lot of people might not pick him because of the Cowboys' form last week. Look, an 86 is fine, we'll take it. It just stings when it could have been an 134 or whatever it was. Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow, 662k. With the Dolphins' form, I reckon Hammer is a genuine run-home option. I'd put him up there with Latrell in terms of like a trade-in target. The Dolphins are just hot, and I really want to get on them more. Maybe I even go Fogarty to Isaiah Katoa. That's a nice cheap swap. Again, we'll have to have a look at the draw. Cody Nikorima has injured himself this game, so he's no longer an option. The guys you're wanting to target are these top three. Tabuai-Fidow, Katoa, and not Marshall King, and Farmworth, obviously. For the Rabbitohs, Dallas Duncan scoring 134 is crazy. He'll have a negative break even next week. I think a few people will get sucked into that. Probably not for me. Jack Whiten, now that Cody Walker has also injured himself, I don't think... When was the last time he played 2 games without getting injured? I think his career might be a bit done, Cody Walker. Jack Whiten as a target, I don't mind. The Rabbitohs are heating up. Latrell Mitchell's also a target. Keon with a 45 is shocking, and he's going to lose a lot of money, but he is up at 800k, so he can afford to lose a bit of money. I think that's all we really want to look at for the Rabbitohs. Storm Sharks, I feel like a lot of people would have captained Pappy for a 48, so at least I'm not in that boat. And Pappy is the fullback I was talking about that I think is a bit of a sell option. Yes, he's got those massive high ceiling games, but lately he just hasn't really been scoring that well. He's up at 700k, which I don't mind as a selling price, but 62, 75, 63, 35, that 182 feels like years ago. It's a scary one because we know that the Storm can towel up anybody on their day and that Pappenhausen can towel up anyone on his day. But are the other options like Tabuai-Fidow and Latrell, are they going to score a bit better in between these massive scores? It's looking like, Pappy's literally having a huge score 1 in every 4 games. He's now gone 5 games without a decent score, so you think he'd be due. Or do Melbourne kind of heat up without him? Does the Eli Katoa, Jerome Hughes combination start doing a bit better? I'm starting to call off on Pappenhausen, and I don't really have the trades to be too frivolous with it, especially because I'm looking to get rid of Fogarty, so I've got a lot of thinking to do. There's also Dylan Edwards to fit into that equation. He could start to move towards some form that we saw last year where it was just 90, 90, 90, 90, and I'd be very happy with that. Final game of the round, Titans, Cowboys. Drinkwater with an 134. At least I've got him. There'd be a lot of people who sold him that would be pulling their hair out at the moment. You got to take the little wins sometimes. AJ Brimson with a 95. I'm really liking the look of him, but probably not enough to trade in. And I don't want to go too heavy on the Titans either. Tino with a 57. Battling that sternum injury, his output has just been shocking since Origin, basically. He's got a high score of 57 in the past month. I don't think I'm going to even be looking at bringing him back at all. I think there's better options. Alan Fitzgibbon with a 12. At least he's healthy. Nathan Lawson, the other popular cheapie, has a shoulder injury, so that's something at least. Dearden with another 63. He's chugging along fairly well. Anyone holding on to Derby or Purdue, that's a pretty rough score to eat there, but at least it's better than a 12. So yeah, par this week is probably still around the 1300s, which really hurts me to say with an 1180, but what can you do? As for trades this week, I think I'm going to look at Jamal Fogarty, who's going to lose 50k over to Isaiah Katoa, so that's going to cost me about 30k, which means I've got about 230 left in the bank, which I could wait and use to upgrade Karapani to a Lomax or a Val Holmes, or I could upgrade a Wishart to an Ezra Mam maybe. Let's have a look at how many numbers we've got for round 18. So Owen Paddy, we'll call that half a number. I'm not even going to count him. I really don't want to play him. So we've got Terrell 1, Keon 2, maybe. He might be playing Origin, I'm not sure. Savala 3, Katoa 4, Fogarty 5 if I keep him instead of Katoa. Looks like I'll have to not do that trade yet. Wishart 6, Wishart or Ezra Mam 6, Garrick 7, Karapani 8, Nwakanita Wasi 9, 10, 11, 12. So I need 2 fucking players. So needing 2 players, I could play with 13. I did put a lot of time into my origin planning, so I really want to have a full team each of the bye weeks. So I'm thinking I might have to hold off on getting in Ezra Mam or anyone like that at the moment. I could look at getting rid of Fanua Blake for just a significant downgrade, someone who's a warm body, and get a number there, and then maybe free up enough cash to do a big trade somewhere else. Maybe I go Nico Hines to Isaiah Katoa, keep Fogarty for 1 more week, and then swap him to Cleary. Saying that out loud, I quite like that plan, but I'll have to give that some thought. Anyway, so that's the week of footy. Hopefully you did a bit better than me, and I'll see you for TLT tomorrow, where we'll go over the origin teams and the week of footy coming up. Anyway, that'll do it. See you for TLT. Uru.